Hey everyone, today we have the EC-1500 here from E-flite and the brand new, recently updated prop adapters. So we're going to go over how to swap out your prop adapters if you have one of the, some of the older models that came with a different design. Of course, the newer models will come with a revised prop adapter from the factory, so this would just be your installation video on how to install the props on the EC-1500. So you'll need a few tools for this. You will need a 10mm wrench for the nut. You'll need a Phillips screwdriver to attach the spinner to the prop adapter. And one piece that I'm going to use that's not really in the manual or anything is a pair of needle nose pliers, and I'll get to exactly why I want to use these in the installation video. I'm also going to be adding a 6mm lock washer to the installation here, and that is something that's also not part of the manual or doesn't come with the prop adapter. That's just something that I decided that I wanted to do on my own. Like I said, it's a 6mm prop adapter. If you wanted to get one of your own, any hardware store would have a 6mm lock washer. Be advised that a lock nut is very difficult to install on this because as you try to tighten the nut down, the entire thing will spin. So that's not a very easily installed piece. So I recommend a lock washer if you're going to do anything at all. I heard some flight reports back already with people trying out the new adapter. Zero issues at all with 4S power, full throttle performance, no issues whatsoever. So you should be just fine to use it as designed. I'm going to add a lock washer to mine just for an extra added bit of safety. So right now we're going to go ahead and remove the factory prop that's on there with the original adapter, and we're going to go ahead and install the new one. All right. All right. So the first step you're going to have to do here is if you have the props already installed and you need to take the original ones back off again, it's just simply reverse the installation process, and that starts by removing the factory spinner. That's a Phillips screwdriver to install that. Now, of course, if you're building it for the first time, you don't have to worry about this because the prop and spinner are not attached. One thing to note, if you watch the adapter video, we talked about how much longer the new one is versus the original one, and one of the reasons is that the spinner will now bottom out where the screw is on the back side here. That will bottom out on the front of the prop adapter here, where before it actually stays clear of that and actually bottoms out on the spinner plate. That can kind of cause some extra stress on the spinner. No issue with the prop, of course, but just a little bit extra stress on the spinner. So let's go ahead and remove the prop here. 10mm wrench is all you need. Let's just go ahead and back that off. Okay. There we go. Set that out of the way. Okay, now the prop comes off. There we go. And this one's actually a little bit snug on the threads of the adapter, so we're just going to back this thing off here real quick so it's clear. And then we can just move the original adapter out of the way. We don't want to mix any pieces together. Okay. So we're going to just reassemble the old prop adapter and just move it out of the way. Okay, there we go. We'll get the new one out. Undo the nut. Take off the washer. We're going to install the backing plate for the spinner. Okay, we slide that on. Okay, verify that the propeller turns. The blades, this round part of the blade is pointed inwards towards the fuselage, so it's going to rotate this way. So this one rotates in the counter clockwise direction. Okay, so this one's a little bit tight, so I'm actually just going to take it off here to give me a little extra room here. There we go. Yeah, this one's just a little bit snug. Not a problem at all. There we go. Got that done. We're going to add the washer on it. And like I said, with this one we're actually going to, I'm adding my own 6mm lock washer to it. That is not part of the factory installation. That's something I'm adding on my own. So go ahead and tighten this down. Okay, I just finger tighten it to begin with. You know, it goes quite a bit before the lock washer begins to take into effect. There we go. It's about as tight as I can get it. Let's see, I think I can just use the second. Okay, so one thing I want to point out here is that as you tighten, if you're used to holding the propeller to tighten, what you'll find is the propeller will spin on the backing plate. So you actually need to hold the backing plate when you go to tighten. So I'm just going to snug it like this, and then I'm actually going to use the needle nose pliers to torque it down a little bit. It's a little bit tough because I don't want to get in the way of the camera here. So this is where I'll use my needle nose pliers, and I'm going to hold the backing plate, and then I'm just going to tighten up the it slips just a little bit. Obviously this is not probably the best way to do it, but it does work. Okay, here we go. All right, that should be snug. I just want to make sure you get it pretty tight. You don't want to get it overly tight. You don't want to have any damage, but you can definitely tell that when it's snug. The needle nose pliers does help if you can get on the side here and just kind of hold the back of that spinner plate. The knurl on the prop adapter will dig into the spinner plate. So if you hold the prop, it will continually spin. So you want to hold the back side there. And then it's just simply a matter of reattaching the spinner. Okay, hold on a second here. It's not going in quite right. There we go. There. All right, well that wrapped up the installation on the brand new prop adapter from E-flite for the EC-1500. As you can see, it's relatively quick and easy. If you got just the tools you need, it goes together really well. Just something I want to point out, something I did to mine as well that's not part of the factory, is I painted the prop tips white, and on the leading edge of the front of the props, I added a red stripe on just the front side, but not the back side. The reason I did that is since I do have counter-rotating propellers and they are directional in terms of which way they have to go, I wanted to make sure that I didn't accidentally have one of the propellers flipped. So a good visual indicator is I added a red stripe to the front edge and left it without a red stripe on the back edge. That just helps me in case you got to take the props on and off. You don't want to accidentally get one flipped the wrong way. Of course, when you go to check your rotation, when you power it up, they should spin towards the inward direction. So they should spin like that. So that's it. That wraps up the installation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got any questions, just leave me a comment below.